finals just had its brand new developer AMA, and this was a full live AMA both on Twitch and YouTube. I'm going to break down the entire thing, categorize and summarize it for you, so it's very easy to digest and understand. There's some additional things that happened during the live stream for some insider info, as well as a whole bunch more. What's up, World Utopia, here back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things the finals. Okay, so as I've said, we had the new finals dev AMA, and I've fully transcribed this and packed this into a bite-sized summary. That way we can go over everything and we're not here all day reading questions and answers. This one did happen today, July 15th, around a few hours ago, and did last around 2 hours, but here's everything packed inside that live stream. So first off, they have the game vision and direction. This has been a huge topic about the finals. How long is it going to last for? They do mention this is built for the long haul, that the game is built as a 10 to 20 year project, and it's meant to evolve over time, not just deliver seasonal content, which is quite insane to hear that it's built as a 10 to 20 year project, and that it could last quite a long time. So to hear that is really good overall, and as before we mentioned that it would be a 10-year project, now ramping it up to almost 20-year project, it does seem like they have a lot invested with it. And as we've also seen, it will be lasting at least to 2027. As in that earnings call, we did say they're going to be bringing a Chinese version of the client. So pretty cool overall to see that. They did also emphasize on a core vision. They do want the game to be chaotic with sandbox mechanics and elements with creative strategies. Essentially, it's being inspired by Dota, TF2, and even Football Manager, which is essentially referring to its simulation. So they are still focusing on emphasizing the chaos and those sandbox elements there, and the funness of it overall. Really glad they're still honing in on that. Again, I know they want to go the esport direction, which we'll go over in a bit here, but I really do like and appreciate that they're still honing in on that chaos. As I always refer back to Halo 3, and that was kind of a community-driven esport game, where it really was never made for that, and there wasn't like a ton of balance overall with it, at least not out of the gate, where I always thought of Halo 3 as a more fun game overall. So I'm hoping they do bring in more of that and we get that more chaos elements, as they say. Now they do have a development pacing structure here. This one is really cool to see because it has a lot of insight into how development pacing works. So for cosmetics and gadgets, they take about 3-ish months to make. Obviously that can vary to either more than 3 months or a little bit less, which that does move us on to maps here, can take between 10 to 18 months. The maps are absolutely jam-packed aesthetically, so I definitely understand why that would take some time. Of course, because of all the destruction systems, making sure everything aligns there too, I can see why that would take some time. So they have had a lot of these maps done already for between 10 to 18 months, and they're finally just unleashing those. They do mention that large systems actually have a long-term R&D or research and development cycles. They use an example here like PvE and traversal, and I will get into the PvE section as well as the esports section here eventually. But anything that massively changes the game, as they say here, those larger systems, those will have a much longer term there. So we could think at least a year plus out. Now I will clarify one thing here. They did mention that not all maps take between 10 to 18 months. Some are between 6 to 10 months, with much larger ones or ones that have more structures taking a little bit longer. So those can be varying there and might not take as long. Next up here we have classes, balance, and specialization. Everyone's been asking about this, but yes, there are new specializations that have been confirmed. In fact, multiple are in development currently. They don't have a release window just yet for this, but they are planned for future seasons. I assume they probably want to get everything balanced and in tuned for the esports and majors events that are upcoming. They did mention that they want to rework a lot of systems and kind of fine-tune the game overall, and then that way they can expand off of that core system. Definitely understandable, you really do need a good base and foundation. So once they get that all sorted, they get through the majors and the esports, I assume that's when a lot of the specializations will come out, or at least we'll start seeing the first ones implemented. Next one here, I've had this referred to in literally every single video. People are asking, when are they gonna revert these sword and melee nerfs? Or if they're going to at all. We finally do have an answer on that. They do mention here that sword and melee buffs will be in patch 7.6. They want the controls and responsiveness to be improved, and they're also going to get a flat stat buff increased across the board here to make melee more reliable. Again, we don't know if that's going to happen to all melees, or which specific weapons will receive that buff, but they are getting their stats increased. So really nice to see, again, honing back in that they want to fix the core of the finals, or at least get things to be balanced. Really good to see that as well, which also leads us on to the medium class is getting reworked. Mediums aren't being replaced, but they do lack identity currently. They really want classes to play their part in each. They're going to be getting new tools and balance updates to help them stand out. As we saw, light and heavy now have healing mechanics. A few people have said basically the light class does have everything medium does, at least for the most part, and heavy's almost even a better form of it with some healing. Although of course there's a few things like turret and a few other exceptions that other classes don't have. But as of right now, yes, medium class is kind of in a rough state, or at least as they said, doesn't have a full identity. So really they are honing in, getting that core class and concept arranged. Next up here is they do want to avoid gear bloat though. The devs want to prevent players from feeling overwhelmed, or at least new players from feeling overwhelmed. They do mention that there's not going to be any items being removed, but future releases will be more selective. They mentioned this one a while back, I believe it was in the Season 5 dev interview that I had, where essentially they were worried about a little bit of gear bloating. So they are honing back in on that point that they don't want to add too many items. I understand both perspectives there. Although this is one that I kind of edge on the opposite opinion of that. I totally get their standpoint there though, and I'm definitely willing to see it play out. But I'm always for one that I like to feel overwhelmed in games. I want to feel like I'm never going to reach the end and that there's just more and more content. That's why I loved games like Cyberpunk or even BG3. And also like World of Warcraft with how much endgame there was to offer me. One of my favorites recently was Wrath of the Lich King, and I think it's a good example there. Which, that classic mode, I basically had to do 15 dungeon runs nearly a day. I absolutely love that. It just kept feeding me more and more content. I get that's not for everybody, but that's kind of my standpoint there. I definitely understand from an FPS perspective though how the gear bloat and adding too many things could essentially hinder the experience for nearly everybody as well as new players. So I get both points there, but I do lean on the one side. Next up here we have a section for UI controls and quality of life, with the first one here being stay as a team feature is complete. It's currently in the dev build with the release soon, and essentially it is what it says. You stay as a team, lets you stay matched with your current squad after a game. Really like that feature, loved it in a few other games, so I'm glad they're bringing it to the finals. They also have the multiple weapon sticker options. Currently there is a prototype for 3 sticker slots to exist. They have some UI complications that are delaying the final implementation though, so we're not exactly sure when that will be geared and ready to go. But pretty cool there, you should be able to add at least 3 sticker slots. I hope they also let you resize the sticker eventually. I've seen that in a couple other games, so I'm hoping they bring that feature out. Here's quite a massive one. They do have keyboard mouse support on console, ready to go and fully functional. However, that is currently being blocked by PlayStation and Xbox policy approval. Now there is a few reasons why this actually might be. But going over platform-specific policies here is competitive fairness. Consoles are hyper cautious about mouse and keyboard players able to queue together against controller players. Essentially, Sony and Microsoft typically restrict input-based matchmaking. There's also anti-cheat concerns, allowing keyboard and mouse could open the door to unimproved devices. And those have to be certified even if Embark has the feature ready. Console certification can take weeks or months, where both Microsoft and Sony often require multiple testing rounds before new peripherals are supported, and typically Sony does take a bit longer. So yeah, a few other details there for why that you cannot get keyboard and mouse support. Another smaller detail here is there's some motion blur and visual issues. Right now there are blur glitches around weapons and effects that are known, and the rendered team is actively working on a fix. Where next up here they have the cosmetic, emotes, and fan support. So currently the elimination statue customization is going to be coming first for both medium and heavy contestants, with more customization types to follow. Bit sad we aren't getting one for light there, but it's kind of cool that you can customize your revive statue. Flamethrower is also getting some color variants here. You're going to be able to alternate your flame colors that are being tested, and they have a priority in maintaining visual clarity for enemies. Maybe they're going to nerf a bit of the flame, as it is a bit rough to see over it. They are also adding lobby emotes in development. Those are coming soon, but delayed due to a syncing issue. If you've noticed, when you do change your outfit, it doesn't always sync up correctly with other players. And there was also multi-character animation bugs that were causing delays. They have gotten it refined though. If you've seen in the recent season, it actually is much faster to actually change your outfit and other players see it. So hopefully they are fixing that one overall. They also gave a bit of a little leak here, or a teaser, that's for an Earth grenade skin. This is a dev favorite, a humorous rock-based grenade skin. and it's expected to release in the coming weeks. There's also a fan-made Riot Shield skin that's happening, which is a community design from Reddit that circulated in the office, and it may even inspire future shield skins. So you might see even the bread barricade eventually, but pretty cool overall. We did see that cardboard one make it in. Next up here is the section for Obus. As I have mentioned, Obus drink is real. It is a real-life beverage with tie-ins that are launching, and even a special in-game event will accompany its release. So it is happening. They are making this drink a reality. They don't have a specific timeline on this one, but we'll have to wait and see. They do clarify that it is getting a retail rollout, but that will be limited, and the sales will be region-based due to food laws. So not every country will get it. Again, don't blame Embark on this one. It really is up to your local laws there, and it's probably also really hard to release something like this and get product everywhere around the world. So where it is and where it happens to be, that is kind of how it's going to play out, and unfortunately can't be everywhere due to other factors. They do also mention that fan creations are always welcome. They love the non-commercial fan art, cosplay, and mods that are supported. I guess that also does tie back into that Embark finally made it so that they have a commercial license for Obus. Maybe they did originally. Again, I had several emails from different companies trying to make the drink a reality. Maybe they read the licensing wrong. I don't really know. I didn't look into it enough. I will from now on if I actually do get anything in the future. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened there. One dev did say that fan art had helped him through the industry, so it is very, very much appreciated. And there is actually some fan art that I'm going to showcase in another video, so pretty cool there. Next up here is the leaked and upcoming content section. Now again, not everything in here is from the Q&A section, or at least when they were getting questions and answers. It was kind of mostly a discussion live stream where they mentioned there is a new traversal system for Season 9 that's born from a Slack concept sketched by an artist, and that is now in the prototype phase, which could change movement across maps. That's pretty cool and insane there. Again, I kind of think this might be wall running. That's a lot of the assumption there. We'll have to wait and see though. This one is huge. A PvE mode is in development. Obviously, they were doing some testing with the practice range. These will be more than just tutorial bots. Think chaotic co-op heist with enemy AI and allies. That's quite awesome. I would love to see that. Even maybe dungeons or raids, kind of like how Destiny has it. Might be a bit far-fetched, but that would be a really cool system to see. I love that they're adding a PvE mode. I can't wait for that one. They also mentioned that the ranked token system is coming. So instead of locked tier skins, you may earn tokens, and these can be used to unlock legacy skins from a pool. That one is really cool there to see. It's probably coming alongside of the original Battle Pass or the Legacy Battle Pass system. Seems like they're really playing into that one, so I can't wait to see that. There's also going to be custom tournament systems. Modes like Glass Cannon and Heavy Hitters are test beds. So yes, they are making a Heavy Hitters tournament system here, or a tournament mode. And there are future plans, including a formal arcade event style and player-run comps. Quite awesome there. Love them tying into these custom modes. For the esports fans out there, yes, we do have a section here for that. Again, they mentioned the first major esports is coming this year. There are pro teams that are already scrimming in this, and that fans will be able to attend this one live. Can't wait for all that. That's going to be huge for the game, I feel, and I'm super excited for the majors. They do mention that there's already been 6 orgs that have signed so far. 3 have already been revealed, but there is more that will be announced closer to the event. The devs also want new orgs to rise, where you can still start your own team now. That has been encouraged, and the infrastructure is early enough for fresh orgs to enter. We had one last section here that gives over some insight with Embark, where it was dev personality and team culture. Well, the first one here is that most devs actually do main heavy. Sledgehammer and Minigun are top picks there. Some purposely play weak builds for testing purposes. Last up here, they do say they listen to the community. They're active on Reddit, Discord, and even social media. I've even had them active in my chat, either on Twitch stream and YouTube. I've actually had a lot of developers comment on my YouTube videos. That one's been really cool to see, and we even have some in the Discord. And they do say that the feedback, memes, and suggestions do help shape what's coming next. That does pretty much encapsulate everything from the developer livestream. Hopefully I summarized that correctly. If there was anything I missed, please do let me know. Overall, that's about it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and until the next one. Deuce!